This is the School of Astrology on love and marriage in your birth chart. So how are you going to work this? The chart looks very confusing, isn't it? To get an overview of how to interpret a birth chart in a short video, you may wish to watch our video on interpreting a birth chart. We put the link in the description below. But anyhow, we will briefly introduce the concepts we use here, so you should be able to follow. Please make sure to download the templates we link in the description below. So what do you look at when interpreting love and marriage in a birth chart? We use the astrological concepts of the houses that show us the various life fields. For the interpretation of love and marriage, we mainly use 3 of those fields to find out more. To interpret relationship, marriage, and about the partner, we use house number 7. For interpreting sexuality and passion, we use house number 8. And to find out about what we love and about lovers and affairs, if any, we use house number 5. And then we always check the Venus in a person's chart. Venus stands for what we love and also what type of person, what type of style, and what type of personality we are naturally drawn to. Venus in a horoscope also represents the archetypical female in a horoscope, as opposed to the moon that stands for the archetypical mother in our chart. Venus represents our idea of how a woman should be. And then if we look to Mars, then here we find the archetypical male, our idea of how a man should be. So depending on whose chart you analyze, it's always recommended to also check those preferences to find a good match or to judge the existing relationship. The next thing that you are going to need is the Cosmic Quality of Planets Desk Reference that you can download from the link in the description below. Here you can find the rulers of the signs, and this means the planets that rule a certain sign. We need this to know for which planet to look when we want to find out in which life field the partner will appear. We are going through this process together, so no worries. We will do this step by step. This template is just for you to prepare. But you can also, of course, just watch this video and absorb the content, because we will explain the ruling planets with every example anyway. To work on your own charts, you might find this desk reference helpful in the beginning. So without further ado, let's go through some examples and see what we can learn by applying these principles. So now here we see the chart of Emmanuel Macron, the French president. We recommend a 5-step process to make sure we don't miss anything. The sequence doesn't matter too much though. So here we go. First we check the 7th house for relationship and marriage. So the meaning of the house is relationship and marriage. Now we check the sign ruling the house, and the 7th house starts in Cancer. Now we interpret. The 7th house is for partner, and in this case, this is a hetero man. The partner will be a Cancer type, and this can mean a real family person or a mother figure. Thirdly, we check the planets in the house. So here we have Mars and Saturn in the 7th house. This will give us an indication of the quality of the partner or partners in case there are more. Now here we find Mars and Saturn. Mars contributes the quality of energy, maybe also conflict, and the energy of fighting. At this moment, we can't say whether the conflict will be inside the relationship or against outside enemies, but likely this is always both ways. To find out the quality of Mars, we recommend to look at the sign that the planet is in. Now here our Mars is in Leo. So the type of arguments and fighting will be on a noble and elegant level. So we can interpret that in this relationship there will be conflict, but it will be carried out in a very civilized manner, but can of course be powerful because Leo is the sign of rulers. To get a fuller picture of the quality of Mars here, we also recommend to check the aspects. This Mars has 2 squares, one to Uranus and one to the Moon. When interpreting aspects, you combine the meaning of the planets involved and the quality of the aspect. So here now we have Mars, stands for short for conflict. Then we have Uranus, that stands for the extraordinary and the sudden, and for disruptions. And finally, the aspect of a square indicates tension. So now combining conflict with extraordinary and disruption and tension, we arrive at possibly spectacular disruptions in this relationship, because 3 quite tensioned qualities on top of each other will deliver quite some fuel for outbreaks. The other aspect of Mars here is a square to the Moon. So we can say, if we combine the meaning of Mars with the energy of fighting and conflict, then the quality of the aspect, that is a square, which is tension, with the meaning of Moon, which stands for emotions and the soul, then the result is likely pain. So we can say that the owner of the horoscope will suffer quite some pain with regard to the relationship. Up next, you look at Saturn here, the second planet in the 7th house. Saturn, from its original meaning, speaks of someone solid, very concrete, concentrated, goal-oriented, and what also matters here also stands for something delayed or for someone older, possibly much older. So people with Saturn in their 7th house may marry someone much older or prefer a much older partner or find their partner late. The quality of the Saturn here in Virgo indicates, now we do another combination, Saturn for goal orientation, for instance, and Virgo with a very structured approach. So Saturn, goal orientation, hard work, plus structured approach would mean that this partner will contribute a very systematic goal orientation in this relationship. Then, also here with Saturn, we check the aspects. Saturn has a square to the MC, the midheaven, the goals, a sextile to Jupiter, and a trine to the Sun. Again, we combine the meanings. The MC here requires a brief explanation. You see that the MC is on 29 degrees 21 in Scorpio. If the birth time is correct, the MC would be in the so-called void of course, which means that the MC and therefore the career cannot manifest. Now, if you become the president of France, we cannot seriously argue that your career didn't manifest, right? Instead, with a systematic, goal-oriented Saturn in a tensioned aspect of a square to your MC, this MC that didn't manifest, your partner may contribute such an insisting force and concentration and hard work that you may basically go anywhere just by sheer force of will. Now here we saw Saturn represent the quality of the partner, but Saturn also rules the rising sign, which is Capricorn here. The rising sign stands for the person himself, and so we can safely say that both the owner of the horoscope and his partner have a very concentrated, goal-oriented personality that will work extremely hard at achieving anything. This concentrated, hard-working Saturn also has a trine to the Sun. The Sun stands for what a person is. Now the Sun here is, curious enough, also in a void of course. This would also mean that the personality without any aspect would not be well visible, because in the void of course the planet cannot manifest. Again, this is the President of France, so how did he pull this off, right? Okay, and here comes the concentrated, hard-working Saturn that represents the owner of the horoscope and the partner in the 7th house. So this is full force, hard-working, a couple, and those two outrule two void of course main elements of the chart, like the MC and the Sun. And so they demonstrated that hard work and determination can seriously get you anywhere. Okay, now we have seen the planets in the house and the aspects, and we move on to rule number 4. Now we check the ruler of the 7th house and its aspects. The ruler of the 7th house is the moon, because moon rules Cancer and the 7th house starts in Cancer. For the rulers of the other signs, please refer to the download link in the description. So we follow the same process. We find moon in Taurus in the 3rd house. Now we combine those meanings. Moon is a mother type person. Taurus stands for earthly beauty. And the 3rd house stands for communication, short trips, siblings, school, and teachers. So the partner will be a combination of those qualities, and in the case of the 3rd house, possibly only one of those. The question is, why do we look at the house that the ruler of the 7th house is in? We do this to find out where the partner will appear, like where to look for her or him, right? And here we can see the partner will appear either as someone we communicate with a lot, in person or in writing, or we meet the partner on a short trip. In very rare cases, the partner will appear as a sibling. Very rare, but okay, still possible. Or the partner can be a teacher or someone you meet at school. In this horoscope, we also find an aspect figure that is called the Yod, and we also see a square here to Mars, but we've analyzed this already, so we move on to our Yod aspect figure. The Yod aspect figure consists of 250-degree quincunxes, as they are called, and a 60-degree sextile. In the download section you will find the description and the link to the template that you can use to look up more on these. And this triangle is called the finger of God, not just Yod, but also the finger of God. Just for short, in this video, the direction that this triangle points to is something that the life of this person will insist on. And here, this triangle points at the moon. And the moon rules the 7th house, and so represents the partner of this person here. And so we can say that this partner was certainly destined or a matter of fate. Now we're basically done with a quick run-through on the 7th house of Mr. Macron. Now let's check our findings with reality. This is Emmanuel Macron with his wife Brigitte Macron at the arrival ceremony at the White House together with President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump. Mrs. Macron is quite obviously of earthly beauty. She is also 24 years older than her husband. And if you followed the story of those two, you will know that she was his former school teacher, and it took them extremely long to get together, and in the process Mr. Macron suffered quite some pain, because even though he insisted that she will be his wife, she resisted for a long time because she was still married. And the age difference may also have played into her resistance, of course. What is also known about those two is that she is very much behind his career and helps and contributes all the time, working hard to support him. Now this is quite an extraordinary couple, and seriously nothing random that you could find in a chart. But if you do, the chart and the reality display the same picture. And this photo is such a smile, isn't it? Typically French, the gentleman will show his affection and with style in public, and his wife couldn't help but display a radiant, cute smile. And to contrast this with the more earnest style of Donald Trump, he and Melania Trump in the background look and turn to each other, but wouldn't consider much more than that in public. Now, all right, we checked an interesting 7th house and everything around it. Let's look at an interesting 8th house. So here we have the chart of John F. Kennedy. We see a 7th house that is empty. And since the 7th house starts in Aries, the rulers are Mars and Pluto. And they appear in the 8th and in the 9th house. So the partner will appear as a sex partner because of Mars in the 8th house. The 8th house stands for sexuality and passion. And with the second ruler of the 7th house, Pluto, in the 9th house, we combine the meaning of Pluto, which is power, and the meaning of the 9th house, which is the vision we have. So the idea is to find a partner with a powerful background. Now we all know the background of Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, and without much ado we can say the description of powerful background does fit. The description of being motivated by sex in finding a partner will remain in the realm of suspicion and biographies, but seems to be realistic, at least as far as we can tell from this chart. But there is something else that really stands out in this chart, and that is a very full 8th house. When we apply our 5-point interpretation rule here, then the meaning of the house would be the one of sexuality and passion. We will leave all the other themes addressed with the 8th house aside here. Secondly, the sign ruling the house is Taurus. So combining sexuality and passion, the 8th house, with the quality of Taurus would mean this is a very earthly, natural type of passion. Then we would check the planets in the house, rule number 3, and their aspects. So here we have, firstly, Mars in Taurus. So this would be a very natural man. And Mars also rules the 7th house, which stands for the partner, or the wife here. So the partner was chosen as a sex partner first. In terms of relevant aspects, this Mars has a conjunct to Mercury, the ruler of the 9th house and the 12th house. So there is a close connection to the vision because Mercury rules the 9th house. Or with international contacts, they would also be found in the 9th house. And to society, which is one of the expressions of the 12th house that is also ruled by Mercury. Mars also has a trine to the moon in 11, which is a powerful connection to the public and friends, and the 11th house also stands for political parties. So there would be a connection there. Now we look at Mercury itself. Mercury as the next planet in the 8th house and as the ruler of the house number 9 will mean that one sex partner or more would be from a faraway country. And now Mercury, as the ruler of the 12th house at the same time, indicates that some of those occasions may happen in secret, because the 12th house also stands for everything secret. Here, only a part of the sexuality and passion remains secret, though the other planets cater to the public part. Jupiter, for instance, as the next planet in the 8th house, rules the 3rd house. So the ruler of the 3rd house appears as a sex partner. That means that one or more of the sex partners would be connected to short trips or the closer vicinity. And here is also quite a variety possible, because Jupiter also stands for many, like as a quality, many times or many people. So we can say there is a lot going on here. And then finally we have the Sun in the 8th house. This means that one or more of the sex partners could have been public persons. The Sun rules the 11th house, so this person or these persons could have been a friend as well. If the ruler of the 11th house is found in the 8th house, a friend, in this case likely a female friend, would appear as a sex partner as well. Our 4th interpretation rule looks for the ruler of the house, which is Venus here, because Venus rules Taurus. Venus in Gemini, as we find it here, would speak of a type of passion that is manifold, as per the interpretation of Gemini. The type of sexuality would also be Gemini-like. So we have a man here who likely wouldn't spend too much time. Sex itself might not have much depth and would be quick and not be time intensive, to put it this way, but more frequently instead. Venus here also has a trine, which is a harmonious aspect to the rising. So sexuality happens very easygoing. At the same time, this Venus is also the ruler of the rising, so the owner of this horoscope won't have a hard time finding sex partners and having sex. Rule number 5. Now this Venus also sits in the 9th house. So one of the interpretations could be that there could be international connections attached to sexuality, but in any case, sex would be considered as a generic component of life that should not be missing here, as per the interpretation of the 9th house, which stands for vision. So it would be desired in frequency. I'm sorry for being explicit here, but now you picked a video about sexuality and passion, and so we have to speak about it. Now you want to see a typical 5th house with a lover or an affair, right? Well, then let's stick to this horoscope for a little longer. It will pay off. The owner of this horoscope was well known for his affairs, Marilyn Monroe only being one of the more prominent ones. So let's see what we can find out about John F. Kennedy's affairs. Following our 5-point system, we check. First, the meaning of the house. And the 5th house is what we love and our lovers, if any. Please refer to more meanings in the desk reference that we link below. We won't discuss all the possible meanings here, as this will take much too long. Then, secondly, we check the sign that the house starts in. So this 5th house starts in Aquarius, and this brings the quality of permanent renewal and tells us that this person loves a change of scenery permanently. Thirdly, we will check the planets in the house and their aspects, and here we find none, so we continue with the next point. We look for the ruler of the house and its aspects. The ruler of the house is Uranus. Uranus sits in the sign that it rules, and that is Aquarius. So this strengthens the renewal theme even more. So there is a constant need for change and variety. A condition like this can, of course, also be lived within a monogamous or exclusive relationship. With an 8th house full, like in this case, the likelihood of this happening is slim to inexistent. So now let's look at the aspects of Uranus here. As Uranus has a square to Jupiter, so likely the affairs created a tension among each other, likely, and possibly also pose a legal problem. The legal aspect would be indicated by Jupiter here. That's one of Jupiter's meanings, if we combine the meanings here, like tension from the square, legal from Jupiter, and the affair was Uranus. And the other aspect is a trine to the rising. This means for him all this was very nice, easy, and natural. We also see the ruler of the 5th house, Uranus, in the 4th house. This is our interpretation rule number 5. The ruler of the house appears in which house? This means the lover or the affair will appear in your home. Well, according to the biographies, or even if you look at the sources on Wikipedia, biographic witnesses speak of call girls in the White House. We don't know if this is true, of course. From an astrological point of view, we can certainly support this idea as a very realistic description. Now we still want to look at Venus and Mars and what they tell us. Venus will tell us how we think a woman should be, and Mars will tell us how we think a man should be, like the archetypical idea we have in our mind. And this will be different for everyone, of course. For this we will refer to the chart of Hillary Clinton as an example. Her Mars appears in Leo, which means she likes a man who is a natural leader. In addition, her Mars is in conjunct with Pluto, and if we combine Mars for man, Leo for natural leader, and Pluto for power, then we can safely say that she likes a powerful man, a powerful leader. Since there are conflicting times about her birth time, we won't go into more detail here. But we've seen what we wanted to see, and this is the Mars. Up next, we can check the chart of Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge, or Kate Middleton. The birth time here is confirmed. And Catherine's Mars is in Libra. So she likes a man who is a diplomat or who is diplomatic. Interesting is that Mars is in the 3rd house here, and the 3rd house also stands for school, and it's widely known that she met her future husband at school. All right, next one to try. Oprah Winfrey has her Mars in Scorpio, which means she likes a strong, tough man. Now her Mars is also in the 11th house, so she likely appreciates a man also to be her friend. Last but certainly not least, we have a very interesting chart here, the one of President Donald Trump. We will still get to analyze the entire chart, but here we just want to check the Venus in this video. His Venus is in Cancer, and combining those two meanings, we can say he likely appreciates very feminine women. Now, his Venus is also in conjunct with Saturn here. This would mean that he likely appreciates women who are feminine and very tough. So that was it for our first tour on relationship, love and passion in the birth chart. Stay tuned for more. We hope you find useful content in this video and on this channel and appreciate your feedback. Thanks a lot for your comments. And please also comment what interests you. We would like to cater to the most requested themes first. For our upcoming live stream readings, please comment if you want your chart featured for free and add a field of interest from this video if you like. And no need to post your birth date, time and place at this moment, of course. We'll ask you in private. No worries. Please subscribe to stay updated with free content every Sunday. and remember to activate notifications to be informed about new content. We thank you so much for your interest and see you again soon on this channel.